Good hello, welcome to an onion skin stream. It's just going to be a very chill one. I haven't streamed in years, but it seems like Australian internet might finally be good enough to handle something without breaking horribly. So I'm going to give it a go. This is a bit of a test, just a bit of an hour and a half, very chill, very laid back, building a new onion rig avatar. There he is. I'm already probably about 3/4 of the way done. I had started it on a private stream just with my Patreons a few weeks ago, and I'm hoping to try and get pretty close to finishing it off today. I'm just going to be moving things around, tidying it up. Nothing too interesting, to be honest. This is just something to probably put on in the background while you're getting your own things done, and maybe engage and ask some questions if you want, and I will be happy to chat and hang out if you wish, although I'm not really expecting many or really anyone to show up at all, so this will probably be a relatively quiet stream. I don't know if I'll be doing a whole lot of talking. We'll see what happens, but yeah, just sort of testing the waters to see if this is something I want to do a bit more regularly. I'll show you around this rig and what I've got so far. I guess particularly for those who are coming to this video a little bit later, once it's already been uploaded in its entirety. But bear with me just for a second. I need to figure out how to get the URL of this video and tweet it. One moment, please. I apologize for keeping you waiting, which under normal circumstances I wouldn't do because I can edit. But now I can't edit because it's live. So I just gotta fill up all the dead space with mindless rambling while I go click on different URLs that are on a different monitor that you can't even see. Can I even get to the... Yeah, there we go. Video link. While I go pause, Twitter, paste, bang. All right, that's done. And now, okay. Sweet, that's finished. I'm not familiar with YouTube streaming at all, really, so this is going to be very all over the place. It looks like I can see my chat here. Check this out. This is neat. I wonder if there's a way to see if there's anyone watching. There's like a 1 there, but I think that's where I opened up my own window to see what's going on. How hilarious. Anyway. It's probably also very late in the night for America and places right now. So anyway. So, assuming I'm only getting people who are watching this in post as if it's a regular uploaded video, I will try to treat it as such as much as I can. So, this is what I've built. A bit of a recap from my private stream, of which there was only like 2 people. So, probably most people watching this will need one. I need to show the roughs. So the onion rig is something I've had around for a long time, pretty much since the beginning of the channel. It's about 5 years old, so it's well overdue for a refresh. Here's what it looks like, and one of its big issues is it doesn't flip very well now, does it? I also want to refresh the colors a lot. I think I already have in this exact image. Hold on. Yeah, there we go. So those are the old colors, very kind of washed out and muddy, not that exciting. So now they're very bright and punchy, which is nice. And just going to tidy up the design a ton. I don't think I have the actual rig in this. This is like my old working file from like 2016 when I was sort of just figuring out the branding, and when I'm working on my own, I just sort of throw nodes everywhere and it gets very, very messy. Not very good practice. All right, so wanted to figure out a new look. Recognizably the same, noticeably different, and that's a color card. That's not good enough. Roughs. All right, here we go. So these are all the different designs we tested out, just between me and the Discord chat. Is that got transparency on? There we go. All right, so I had used a slightly different avatar a couple of times. Remember, I was using a puppet for like 6 months there. I never really used that as much as I wanted to. Maybe I'll bring it back. The purpose of it was to actually live stream with, so I could have like a face cam going and just have one arm up in the air for 4 hours talking to the audience while drawing. Wouldn't be able to use any shortcuts. And then after that, I used a very simple one that sort of looked like this. Sort of black lines, white fill, sort of in the same sort of style you see from a lot of story time animation channels, just because it's really easy to pump out and create new poses for, etc. But I've always liked having a rig that is capable of being fully animated, fully colored, fully shaded, and fully posable, but still treading that line of making it not... I can't edit out planes going past. Being live is weird and uncomfortable. I don't know if I like it. But I guess I don't need to spend hours and hours editing later. Anyway, where was I? Oh yes, striking the balance of being able to get something to still move in a relatively smooth and convincing way. I just realized this is private. This damn thing's set to private and has been the entire damn time. Holy cow. Well, I'm a doofus. Because I've just explained all of that to people who will come and watch this later, but what about people that start rocking up now? Okay, well, there's no one watching yet, so I'm going to carry on with this explanation, and then if anyone does arrive, I apologize to those watching in post if I have to explain much of this again. I can't believe I streamed for 6 minutes to a private chat. Okay, where was I? Alright, so the first original version of the posable, fully animatable one was trying to toe that line where it's still efficient, quick to animate, but with good results. That was before the age of master controllers. I'll bring it up and do a proper video on how all that worked and where it's at now. But the main thing I always wanted to do is get the contours, these lines that go down the middle of the character, to rotate in a way that is true. As the face turns, those will bend as well. Previously, all of that had to be manipulated one piece at a time, and it's something that Master Controller is very, very good at. So with my Discord chat a couple of weeks ago, we went through a bunch of different concept designs like this. This was sort of the first one that I did, and I probably would have just stuck with that if one of the viewers wasn't a character designer and said, maybe you should do a few thumbnails. And I was like, oh yeah, okay, you're right. So I did a bunch. I apologize for not remembering names off the top of my head. I will make sure to give you proper credit when I do a more refined video on this topic. But there were suggestions for things like just slightly floofier hair, maybe a pointed bottom. Should there be thumbs? Should it just be the little pin eyes or big ones? Eventually sort of landed on this, where it's got slightly floofier hair, or tassels, whatever you want it to be, and larger feet. Hello, there are people. Cartoons Isaac Nunez, Jacob Witz, and Faziet. I'm definitely saying that correctly. Animations. Hello, welcome. Oh, there's a question already. What software am I using? ToonBoom Harmony. That's my whole channel. That's everything is ToonBoom Harmony. Where can I write that down? So it is clear. Anyway, so the next phase. I'm going to show you around the actual rig now. So we got all the concepts. We sort of settled on this one, and then look at this. Look at this. So As I do, I'm not building very conventional rigs because the kind of rig that you would build for a series or a show or a film or whatever are very dense. They do strike a good balance of efficiency and quality, But, Greg's here. Hello, Greg. And Jesse C. Wow, I wasn't actually expecting to get people because I thought it would be the middle of the night everywhere and that I could sort of just do my happy little private test stream without anyone actually watching. I procrastinated from doing this pretty much all yesterday because I was a bit nervous. Anyway, I need to stop saying anyway. I can't do retakes. This is awful. Okay, so the new rig, I need it to get it as fast to animate as possible, right? Can't spend a month making a minute when it's just a little bit of moving around, talking to the camera in a software tutorial or an art tutorial, right? That's silly. The entire animation YouTube, especially like the story time scene, has figured this out now, that the way you get a ton of animation out quickly for a YouTube audience is to basically just have still poses that sort of pop between one another, which is a technique that I love. But I want to push it a little bit further. So this is how far I've gotten. Enough preamble. I've had a few tests, and I'm mainly just going to be cleaning it up today when I get into it, and I'm finally finished with this intro. These are my master controllers. So I've set up a bunch of angles where it's top, 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 side, middle, 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 lower, lower, lower. And all of those are key poses that get set to the control handles. And I've had 3 attempts at it, and they're all a bit weird. I'm not quite satisfied with any of them yet, but they act like little joysticks to be able to pose the head around with. So you can see that going from left to right sort of works okay, but you can see the left pupil is a bit broken. It doesn't quite follow along right. And that's the case with all of them. Well, the right pupil there is completely busted from the up angles. But because all of them were designed just sort of moving left to right like that, we get a few issues when it moves from top to bottom. See how that left eye sort of wraps around the head and it just suddenly goes stunk, and like it changes direction very suddenly. It's not very smooth at all. And that's the case all the way around. So these other joysticks are the other attempts. So, you know, the eyes are working a little bit better, but we've still got problems with the up and down. How much that sort of crunches in is a bit strange. And here it's a little bit mildly better again, but still not quite there. And this other control here is for an up-down, whoa, movement like that. And before I get to talking to the chat and doing any questions or whatever, I will quickly show the main thing I'm going to be doing with this that I'm really excited about. And that is auto follow through and auto bounce. And there's the last onion skin video I did with the Magnemite and a few upcoming ones are sort of all about exploring this idea of automating those little niggly bits, because a bit of follow through, a bit of squash and stretch is the thing that gives a bit of life when you're doing super efficient, dumb, stupid animations, right? And I'm so lazy that I want to automate even that. So I can sort of pick up this guy with a single controller, move it from left to right, and it will just do everything itself. Whoa. Okay. Ignore that. So if I put it here, and then we go down a little bit, and then I have it face up here, watch how it goes. It's not quite doing it right, but it's not finished yet. But you'll notice that we get like a little bit of a swing. Let's try and make it go very quick. See if that does anything. There we go. So see there's like a jiggle, and especially the hair has like a sway to it in post. My goal is to have something that looks good, but I can churn out a full minute of animation with this guy in like half an hour. Maybe it's a fool's errand. I'm not sure yet. The first generation of the rig, I could get pretty close to it. And now with master controllers, I think it might be possible. But it's not really the standard ways that master controllers get used in production. So I'm treading some weird ground here. Okay, that's enough preamble. Wow, so many people. Hello from Brazil. Hello. That looks pretty good. Thank you. It's so adorable. Thank you. It looks kind of like a ball of fire. Thank you. Let me just say you're a ToonBoom guru. Thank you. That means a lot. Because I can't actually animate or draw very well, but at least I know my way around the software. Okay. I'm gonna get stuck into this now and trying to remember where I was at because it was already a couple of weeks ago when I last did it. And we're going to find out together how good I am at multitasking, talking to you a lot while trying to be productive and reading comments and things. I'm not quite sure how it'll go yet. So please chat away, ask any questions. If it's like... one of the things that are good... Usually what happens when someone asks something in the chat, I get sent on a huge tangent and I'll ramble for like 20 minutes. So it's not hard to keep me talking. That's one of the reasons why I have a channel even. So I don't have to bore the people in my real life with all of this stuff. But if there's things that you're like wanting to know, like if you're struggling with things, I want to do streams fairly regularly, and I'm pretty cool with the idea of them becoming very interactive. Like if there's things that you want to show off or have featured on the channel, or if you're hitting a snag in a project and you want me to have a look at the file live and sort of pick it apart and see if there's any advice I can give or solve a problem for you, I think that's really cool. I love the idea of doing that publicly, because like if you're hitting a problem, it's quite likely that others are hitting that snag as well. And when I'm preparing regular tutorials and things, it's quite difficult to decide what priority certain topics should go in. Because, you know, there may be problems that are very common that I personally haven't experienced. And there's also problems that I personally experience a lot that may not be common amongst the wider community. So I think that interaction is really important. Anyway, what version of ToonBoom Harmony are you using? I'm using Harmony 20. I don't think any of the actual features I'm using for this build are exclusive to Harmony 20. Or hang on, that might not be the case because I've got this hair here. Yeah, so this is using a weighted deformer. This is a Harmony 20 exclusive feature. And I've done a couple of videos sort of toying around with this already. But it sort of allows you to combine deformers with regular pegs and stuff. So I can get... let's see if I can see the controllers for it. There we go. So you see these 3 points. These are all 3 different... You can barely see them because it's red on red. But there's 3 different points. Each one of them is a different peg, and they all share one drawing. And it's really, really cool how it works. Because I can now pick up all this, and it all moves together in a satisfactory way. Before this, each one of these pieces would have to be 3 separate ones that are all layered and intermeshed and layered in a very particular way. It's all very involved. The result would look really good. This one has a slightly less powerful result, but it's just really flexible and easy, especially considering that I've doubled it all with dynamic springs. So all 3 of these have slightly different delays to them. So when the body will move, each one of these will drag behind in slightly different ways to try and make it look like auto-generating hair physics. That's the plan. I'd like to get into animation. Any recommendations on how or what to start with? This is a really good question. A lot of my videos seem to cater towards more intermediate users. I think most animators that I tend to bump into in real life who have learned from my stuff are those who have like just gotten a studio job for the first time, that kind of thing. And I think just hearing that sort of feedback has led me towards those more intermediate level stuff where people sort of know the basics of animation, they know the basics of how to use the software, but they're trying to figure out what are the specific things that I need to know to, like they've probably done a job application or whatever, and it's like, oh, okay, I need to learn these skills. Let's look it up, and that's usually when my stuff tends to appear. I think. I would really like to do the super intro stuff, like what you're suggesting, Jesse C. I guess I'm just a little unsure on where to start with that and how that would clash with that more intermediate level audience. I'm sure there's a way I could do it. There's just things that I feel like I don't need to do because other people have done similar topics but better. Particularly like the Alan Becker 12 Principles videos. Like he covers those topics so exceptionally well that I don't think anybody needs to cover that topic ever again, for example. But if you're just thinking about getting into animation for the first time, seriously, just start with flip books, like a brick of post-it notes, and just making like drawing a thing, go to the next page, draw it slightly differently. Like there's no such thing, I think, as thinking about maybe getting into animation. Like there's no excuses for not just starting at that super basic level. Like pencil, post-it notes, the corner of your school books. Like just start. It's the same as just sketching. And then when you're like, okay, I feel like I've outgrown this, I need some software. There's a bunch of free ones. Harmony is what I spend most of my time in because it is the industry standard for film and TV, but it also makes it a lot more higher tier. Like the highest tier one is like $1,000 a year or something like that. Essentials, like the lowest tier version, that's a lot more comfortable. I think it's like 100, 200 a year. But it doesn't have this. It doesn't have all the node stuff, which is where I spend the majority of my time personally. But there's a lot of other animators who are very strictly traditional, very strictly drawing. They don't need this stuff at all. So Essentials is fine for them. See, I told you it was easy to get me rambling for ages with just one question, and I haven't even gotten into this at all. Maybe I should just have like gameplay footage or something playing in the background, because anyone watching this all the way through, they're just going to be staring at a blank screen for freaking ages. Maybe I should just be doodling in the background. I'm going to try that. Because like rig building requires a lot of active thought. I'll come back to it in a little bit, but just for the next 5 or 10 minutes, let's try mindlessly doodling in the background, just so that there's something a little bit more interesting to look at. And I apologize for all this experimentation on the fly. That will be the case for a while, as I have never really streamed properly. Let's get something dark here. Sorry, just a sec. Oh, that's pretty thick. That'll do. I don't even know what I'm going to be drawing. Who cares? Have you been? It feels like it's been ages since your last tutorial. Yes, it has. I'm sorry about that. It's one reason why I'm wanting to stream as well, because it's just very immediate. Every single week I wanted to make videos, and time just sort of slipped by, and it is just very much a commitment thing. What was slowing me down was just, I think, a 2020 thing. I slowed down pretty much at the start of lockdowns, and then very suddenly, like 6 months had gone past and I hadn't really noticed. I'm not sure if other people sort of had that experience. I pretty much just got really stuck into full-time work. Like I needed a bit of income to sort of keep everything afloat. And by the end of the day, I'm going to keep rattling off excuses. They are just excuses. I can make simple videos. I can do simple streams like this. So I'm going to be actively figuring out how to keep everything balanced and keep content coming out on the regular. I feel like I have that responsibility a bit. So I'm just making dumb things up right now. Not even thinking about what I'm drawing. Hey, Onion, my dude. Hope you're having a day as awesome as you are. Have you had an experience with Storyboard Pro? Yes, I love Storyboard Pro. Do you want to see it right now? I want to do a full video on it soon. See, I told you I'd get rambled very easily. I already said that. Is there a way to combine the master controller with morphing? Good question. Maybe. I want to hear more from you on that topic, assuming that you're someone who is into morphing. Have you done, like, is morphing a part of your workflow? Do you like to animate like that often? Because I personally don't. I haven't used morphing or shape tween style stuff in a really long time. And I was starting to think that it's a bit of a legacy feature and not many people used it anymore. Especially since the animated matte generator feature was added. So if morphing is something that you like, please tell me, like get in touch privately even and tell me how you use it, maybe send some footage of it. And then I'll help figure out with you how it can interact with master controllers and things like that. Hirschili, apologies if the name is wrong. Hey Onion, I've recently started learning ToonBoom and your videos have really helped. I want to be an animation rigger now. That's very exciting to hear. There's not many riggers around. It's a very diverse field. You get to do lots of different things. I've often wondered why it's not more popular. I think learning to rig the basics at the very least is good. What am I even doing? Learning to rig the basics is really important for regular animators because you can sort of just like build and swap and do parts on the fly and stuff. And then the high tier rigging, like the stuff you see with the intense master controllers and the 360 rigs that you might have seen floating around on YouTube and stuff. Some of those can take a week or up to 2 weeks to make. If you're doing just a little YouTube short on your own, they're often not as much work as they're worth, and it's easier to just go traditional. Yeah, that's more like if you want to be a rigger full time for full stuff. But that sort of intermediate level rigging, I think, is really beneficial just for speeding up your regular animation. It's like symbol animation in Flash. Do you remember that? Like adding some symbols and figuring out how to balance that would really speed up individuals' workflows than going full traditional on everything all the time. Ants Animation says, is there a way to combine master control with morphing? Oh, I've already answered that, sorry. And you are going to get in touch with it. Excellent. Matt Make Cartoons. What's a good cheap video editor program you suggest to put a bunch of scenes together? Davinci Resolve. I use Davinci Resolve for all my videos now. It is completely free. There is a paid version, but I think that's if you're doing like, if you want to export in like 4K or something like that. So it's not really that necessary. But it's not just a good cheap editor program. It is a high tier feature level editor. Like, it's awesome. Their business model is ridiculous. Like, the people who make it, they release the software for free with the encouragement that you're gonna buy one of their $30,000 epic mech controller decks, which for the everyman you don't really need. But it's a really clever idea because it means that more people can start to use their software and get used to it, so that if you become a professional full-time video editor and it's your entire income, then it's like, I'm gonna buy myself a $30,000 mech control deck. I guess. Yeah, DaVinci's great. It also has compositing built into it, so there's a little bit of After Effects style stuff going on. Sushi Sauce says, hey Onion, love your tutorials. Thank you so much. They've been a huge part in teaching me to animate. I was wondering, what are some good ways to practice using nodes? That's an excellent question. I've got Storyboard Pro open at the moment because someone asked about that. I just want to give a real quick demonstration before I do a full video on it later. But basically, the main difference with Storyboard Pro compared to Harmony is that Harmony is you have layers and you put frames into your layers. And Storyboard Pro is you have frames and then you put layers into your frames, which is super, super weird. Like, layer 1, layer 2, come on. Oh, whatever, I can't be, oh, it's locked. Layer 2, layer 3. And then if I go to this other panel here, like the next frame, so to speak, notice that all the layers are gone. It's back to scratch. And it seems so strange because no other program works like that. But when you really get into the meat of storyboarding, it's actually super nice. Because, you're constantly moving from shot to shot. You might have backgrounds of 5 characters and you build up all this stuff. And then the very next panel might just be, like a blank screen, or just like a sunset or something like that. So you don't need as many layers. And when you're storyboarding in like an animation software, all the layers exist throughout the entire thing, no matter what. So it's actually a really nice way to keep things clean. And what I like about storyboard is that it is very simple. I reckon I could cover most of the program in only like 2 or 3 videos, which is super weird considering ToonBoom's other program, Harmony, is something that I've been able to do videos on nearly every week for 5 years, and I still feel like I'm barely getting started. I don't think I'll ever run out of ideas for Harmony-based content. Crazy. What was I going to talk to about that? Oh yeah, a good way to start practicing with nodes is read the documentation and plug things into things and see what happens. I think a lot of people get into nodes with rigging in mind, which is very specific. It's all about getting the order right and separating things into sublayers. I got into nodes and was able to learn it very, very quickly by just practicing with the filters. So this stuff: blurs, transparencies, glows, color correction. This is stuff that you can just sort of figure out on the fly and learn how to combine, no real problems. So, like I'll go into render mode here and get a blur radial, pop it in, let's crank it up to like 10 and see what happens. Oh, okay, yeah, blurs, obviously. Oh, let's get a transparency as well. Oh, now it's half transparent. What happens if we get a matte blur and put that on? Oh, it's all white. Oh, hang on, there's a white swatch down here. Maybe if okay, so matte blur changes the color of everything in its entirety. Oh, but hang on, it has a blur parameter here. So, what if I blur that out? Oh, it's added a blur onto the blur. So maybe I don't need this blur. I can take that one away and it still works. Oh, hang on, matte blur also has an alpha. So maybe I don't even need the transparency. I can do everything from this one node. And then you're like, oh, hang on, composite. What if I had 2 drawings and then I composite them and put the matte blur underneath? So it's very Lego-y. It feels almost gamified in a way. Like, I love being able to take all of these and combine them in any order and make all sorts of just weird stuff that the developers probably didn't even think you could do. And that's mainly the case with the stuff in the filter category. They can be combined in just a ridiculous combination of ways, and there's not really that many rules to it. When you get into the more complex stuff like particles, they do have a lot of rules where things do need to be connected in a very particular order, and it gets confusing very quickly. So like basic particle, here's your basic particle generator, and even then you see it's actually a group of nodes and they're all very particular. The planar region has to go to an emitter. The emitter has to go to the region has to go into a purple one. The purple ones have to go into a system composite. They have to go into a baker. They have to go into a visualizer. So that's 5 sets of nodes that all need to be there in a very particular order. 4 of them are compulsory. Yeah. So when you get into that stuff, the particle examples are sort of the way to go. Like, first time I opened the program, I'm like, what are the bees? Why is bees a thing? That's weird. Why is the default feature just bees? How often do you need bees? And it turns out it is actually useful. They're templates. Rather than building up particles from scratch, 90% of the time, one of these will get you like 80% of the way there. So you take out the bees, you go in and you swap out the bee asset for, hang on, show me the bees. Yeah. You take the B asset and then you swap it for one of your own drawings, blah, blah, blah. Don't start with particles though. Start with filters. Filters are great. Ants Animation says, I had to convert the morphs into drawings, then I was able to use mask controls with them. Yeah, that was my suspicion. Even so, I'd still like you to get in touch and show me some of your morphs. I think one of the main reasons why I've never really used it properly is because I struggled with it, to be honest. I'd like to see some good examples. I like to be inspired with this program and find relevant uses for every nook and cranny. Like, if there's good uses for obsolete features, I think that's fun. And combine that with modern techniques, and then you can do all sorts of wild stuff. Yeah, show me some cool things you can do with morphs. Any thoughts about bringing back read between the frames? Yeah, I get this question a lot. I love read between the frames. Yes, I have thought about it a lot. If these streams go well, I would like to one day expand the streams into a bit more of a like a variety show, if you will. Like, there'll be different segments. Like, we'll do 15 minutes of this sort of just, hey, let's just sort of chat and hang out. And then there'll be like, oh, let's bring up some footage from a show and do a read between the frames-esque segment, just like on the fly live. And then maybe like finish off with a very chill, I'll animate something and it's just something you can sort of listen to in the background. Something like that. The full densely, heavily edited read between the frames is something I may attempt again, but my hand was more forced on it because they take a really long time to make, about a month or so full-time sometimes. And because it's looking at footage from other people's shows, that can be problematic. So, you know, YouTube algorithms like to slam that pretty hard. Half the time they get straight up blocked, like the videos get removed. And every single time they'll be demonetized. So there's little incentive for like me as a creator to make read between the frames, even though I like doing it. And then the other reason is just probably more of like a dumb ego thing. And it's like, if read between the frames became the thing that was like the popular show on the channel that everyone came for, I know this sounds silly, but I don't really want to be the kind of person that is known for looking at other people's animations. Like, I don't want to be a reaction channel, you know? I want to make my own things. And even then, I barely do that because I just talk about how the program works rather than actually releasing animations. I hope that makes sense. But yes, I am thinking about bringing it back. Dash Animation says, hey Onion, I love your videos. They help me a lot and I hope to be an animator like you. I might need some help later, but just wanted to say hi. Hello Dash Animations. Thank you very much for watching and your support. I hope you'll be able to. Are you an animator already though? Like, hang on. Oh, what? The chat doesn't let. I was hoping I could like click on the chat and get to people's channels through it. I want to see if you're an animator already. Hang on, I'm gonna embarrass you now. Dash Animations. Let's see if it comes up. Oh, it doesn't. That's dumb. I wanted to be able to click on people's. Oh, hang on. Pin message, remove user, hide user. I'm trying to go to your channel. I might accidentally end up blocking you instead. Will of the Wisp. As an amateur storyboard artist, I'm looking forward to those videos along with anything you make. Love your work, dude. Thank you very much. Sushi Sauce says, thank you so much. These are real, like, just... streaming is great fun because I just get to sit here and read compliments for 20 minutes. This is wonderful. Nowhere else in my life is this a thing. I shouldn't have said that out loud. Sushi Sauce says again, thanks so much, Onion. Definitely hope to animate like you soon. I mean, you say that, but really stop and think about it. How often have you seen me animate on this channel? I just show you what buttons click into what. I don't animate a whole lot. You have no idea if I'm actually a good animator or not. It might all be a disguise. I'm going to try messing around with nodes and see what happens. Much love from Canada. That's awesome. I really like to go to Canada. I hear that's sort of the place to be for animation. Kobe, thanks for joining here. I'm glad you could make it. YouTube removed that chat feature. I was so annoyed when they did. Yeah, I feel like this is the perfect kind of channel for, like, when it comes to audience interactivity, for going to people's channels and then I want to watch some of your animations. Like, you know, the majority of people here are artists themselves. It's a great opportunity for things to go both ways. And I can't click on them. We've seen you break down animations and recreate them. Yeah, you're still in it. Actually, that's a really good point, Isaac. With Read Between the Frames, the main series, every one of those episodes are almost completely different from one another. They're not just let's look at animation and break it down, but a lot of the time I end up reconstructing scenes completely from scratch, and that's a different thing entirely. It would be cool to do more of those again as well, and I think they would probably end up falling into a different segment than like a live streamed Read Between the Frames, which would be a lot more reaction channel-esque. But I think that would be counterweighted by having people in the audience engaging, because a lot of time in Read Between the Frames I'd sort of like notice something interesting and make a claim on it, and everyone in the comments gives me corrections on things that I'm getting wrong in my analysis. So I think it would be important to have that audience there with me live so those corrections can be made on the fly, rather than my mistakes sort of just being left up forever. What happened to my... Where's the... Oh, I'm in drawing mode. I really do need to get better at actually working while talking, huh? Thanks for the answer. I always saw the Read Between the Frames as an educational thing. You always end up talking about abstract concepts, trying to figure out how they did stuff and more. Yeah, that's how I always saw it as well. I don't think the algorithms can really tell the difference, though, which is why I tried to even avoid playing the clip and just go straight into the frame-by-frame analysis of it. The tricky thing about Read Between the Frames now is that because I'm getting... you know, I'm not like a newbie in the industry anymore. Like, sometimes, like, there's shows I want to break down where I have legitimately, like, you know, like, been there, or I know the people working on it. So talking about how it's done, I like the idea of Read Between the Frames being almost like a bit of a detective show in a way, like trying to reverse engineer how things are done just by looking at the final product. And although I think it would be really cool to be able to talk about the ones where I've legitimately seen how it's done and could just talk about it, I don't think I would be allowed to. And I definitely hesitate to sort of open up those secrets to the world when it's not my place to do so. It's almost like I need to visit studios less because then that takes them off the list from me being allowed to do a Read Between the Frames on them. Have you seen Long Gone Gulch? No, I haven't. It's a pilot that came out yesterday. I have not. I will punch it into my list. Gulch. And leave it for later. That was probably my favorite series. Loved the construction phases. Oh, sweet. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to give it another crack. Working and talking at the same time. What is this black magic? The really ironic thing about that is when I'm recording my main videos, I pretty much exclusively work and talk at the same time as a bit of an editing trick, because then I can look at the waveform in post and sort of know where the edits should be, because if I'm not talking, I know I'm not working, and then I can just cut those parts. So I sort of prepare the next sentence mentally and then speak it while doing it and then trim the gap. But the problem with streaming is that I don't get the opportunity to pause for 15 seconds, think about what I'm going to say next, and then commit to it. It all just has to be done on the fly. Like right now, I'm thinking, where are all my layers? And I'm looking at my displays and not sparing enough mental energy to realize that it's because I've changed the way the layers are being shown. Oh, there they are. And I deliberately chose this project as something very easy to multitask too, because all I need to do right now is go through these 9 poses and smooth them out. Because, like, look at that. That pose is fine, that pose is fine, but they do not animate well. So I'm going to have to adjust probably this key to something. We'll see. Check this out though. Here are the contours I was telling you about. So they're all just straight lines that go straight through the middle, and they will turn like this, yeah? And they'll be connected to the master controller as well. I'm going to have to adjust these down poses as well though, because they go straight up to the top, and I'm going to have to adjust each one to be on the left. So let's have a look at what's going on there. I think they're all at the offset, maybe? Or is the offset's at the bottom? All right. Maybe if I just kept the chat on the same screen, I'd be able to interact with them both a little bit more easier. The shifting gears thing is tricky. Oh, an entire screen has gone past. This is the great thing about being a small channel. I can properly read it. You ever see those channels where it's just this insane wall of text? It stops being two-way at that point. It's just presenter and audience. I much prefer it being more of a conversation. Where were we? Sushi Sauce says, super curious, would it be an idea for the future to check out animations done by smaller animation channels referencing your work and break down the do's and don'ts about it? Yeah, I'd love to do that. I'm not really a do's and don'ts kind of person though. Like animation's so subjective, like regular drawing. It's not like, I guess cooking. I also don't feel like I'm really high tier enough to have the authority to tell somebody that what they're doing isn't good. I wonder if I can pick up all of these and move them together. I don't think I can, which is a real bummer. Yeah, they all get picked up at once, and then they all get twisted in a way that is super gross. That's weird. Picking up both then. That always happens. There's no way to do it deliberately though. I see more things coming in. Probably a really basic question, but how do you figure out how many angles you need for a project? Getting slightly bogged down for a few months now by trying to make a 360 character workaround. Great question. 360 rigs are a real catch-22 because they look really impressive in demo reels and stuff because it's like, ooh, a 3D model, but it's not 3D. But this, depending on the kind of show you're making, you probably don't need it. The standard turnaround rig of front-facing 3/4 profile is often enough. And even then, angles like profile or front-facing, how often do they appear? Like, think of The Simpsons or something, right? It is almost exclusively 3/4. Front-facing would appear a little bit in the early seasons. Profile, maybe a little bit. But most shows are pretty straightforward, and they'll keep things pretty much to one angle, so you can put like all of your energy there, like all of the mouths and stuff like that. I did a movie once where I had to set up all of the mouths and expressions for all of the angles for a cast of like 20 characters or something, and it took ages doing so many mouths, especially the profile mouths. They took a really, really long time because of how they mask and interact with the head, you know? And then, of course, when it actually moves into full production, and I realized that they don't get used. I don't think they got used at all. But it was like, you know, I still had to make it. It was in my brief. But if we'd sort of sat down and thought about it properly, I could have saved myself like a week and a half worth of work, not to mention schedule and budget time. Getting those contours up into the head isn't quite getting what I want. They're also way too high up. It still needs to be level with this. Fortunately, there is a guide feature now. I've never really used this before. That's cool. All right, so let's keep things level, but then lower them down. Those larger channels don't have chats. They have libraries. What is that? I don't really watch many streams myself. I feel like I'm getting old. Out of all of the trends. They have a wall of text, of scrolling text with no rhyme or reason. Yeah, I sort of get the vibe that people in those chats are they're more chatting to one another in a way, and it's more just like only one word gets sort of thrown. So you sort of see like, you get a vibe of the mood of what's happening, if people are excited or disappointed or something, depending on whatever's happening. David Holt says, I want to say thank you for the videos. Thank you so much. They helped me when I was struggling to make stuff for my new cartoon series. Thankfully, I got someone to help, so we are moving along. Thank you. It made me not give up hope. That's wonderful. Giving up hope is something I struggle with a lot. I would really like to see your series, maybe. But once again, not being able to just click on your name and go to your channel is a problem. David Holt. Did that work? Construction and building sites in London. I think that might be someone else. Pretty straightforward in not having any straightforward camera angles, just 3/4 views. Yeah, you probably don't need a full 360 rig then. Like, there's definitely a time where it feels like you just want to make one like for flexing. Like originally I was going to make this guy a full 360 as well, but it's too many bells and whistles. I only need it to be able to tilt from 1 3/4 through front facing into the other 3/4, because he's always, you know, talking to the camera in some way. He just needs to be able to express to the audience, and as long as he can do that really, really well, then I'll be happy with that. I always lose my place in the chat. Thanks for the detailed answer. No problem. What's this for? I'm new. I'm building a new avatar for my channel. Something that just animates a lot smoother and has a little bit more expression, and is overall just a little bit cuter, because the old design has not aged great, in my opinion. What features does Harmony Advanced have that Harmony Essentials does not, besides the node view? I don't have all the answers on that. I don't spend much time with Harmony Advanced, but the controversial thing is that I'm pretty certain that Harmony Advanced doesn't have the nodes. Harmony Premium has the nodes. So there's 3 tiers: Essentials, Advanced, Premium. And the main difference between Essentials and Advanced is, I think it adds all of the other features that are not nodes, if that makes sense. So things like the pencil tool has pressure sensitivity, in Advanced, but in Essentials it doesn't. It's just a hard singular line. So you could consider Essentials is like the Flash equivalent, if you will. All of the features that you're used to in Flash exist in some way, shape, or form in Essentials. So you got sort of a basic drop-down list of effects, a standard pencil, a standard brush. I think you have 3D, like things can move forwards and backwards in 3D space, but they can't rotate in 3D space. That's an interesting one. It's been a few years since I've properly dove into the different tiers, and I think the time is right for another comparison between the three, like which is right for you. So thanks for pointing that out. I'll bump that up the priorities. With 360 or 180 rigs, would you recommend using the Deformer mouths over drawing subs? It seems like such a hassle to make all those drawing subs. I personally am of the belief that drawing subs are the most efficient way. Deformer mouths are a lot more fiddly because you have lots of different parts: top lip, top teeth, bottom teeth, tongue, bottom of the back of the mouth, and getting all of that to mask in with the head. You might have to move the jaw as well. There's a lot of parts moving around, and they don't count as different substitutions. So maybe you'd use a master controller for that. Like, there's ways around it, but overall, setting it up, I believe, is more work than to just draw them. I've got a lip syncing video from like 3 years ago that I intend to do a follow-up on soon. And that shows my standard formula for building a mouth set. It's really quick. I feel like it only take about 10 to 15 minutes to draw a mouth set most of the time. And that has all of the pieces that I need, and they just go straight here into the drawing substitutions bin. And then you just lip sync it. You just go through, you choose the syllables. Lip syncing is just one of those things that when you practice it, you get a feel for it and you get faster at it. With 360 or 180 rigs, would you recommend using Deformer mouths? Oh, I just read that. Sorry. Essential says the top view. Okay, yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Has the top view, but it doesn't have the perspective view. Ooh. 3D features are one of those things that look really flashy when you're showing the program for the first time, and your imagination goes wild as to all the different ways you could use it. But in day-to-day, it's just one of those things that when you need it, you're glad it's there, but it's not used all the time. Lucas Sutton says, "Hey Colin, looks like the progress is going along well. Thank you. It is in exactly the same spot as you saw it last, because the entire stream so far has just been mindless chatter and not actually focusing." I keep losing my place. All of the silence isn't me getting work done. It's just me reading. What's up, Cavi? Fancy seeing you here. Ah, yeah. Everybody knows each other in the animation community. I'm thinking about upgrading to ToonBoom Advanced. Cool thing to keep in mind, doodles and things, is you get a separate 30-day free trial for each tier of the program. And that's something that I'm pretty sure ToonBoom has deliberately allowed, so that people can try out each one and really figure out what's right for them. And it also means, you actually have 90 free days of ToonBoom products. So you can sort of start with Essentials, spend a month just sort of dabbling and figuring out that version, upgrade yourself to the free version of Advanced, explore the new bits yourself, and then finally spend 30 days with Premium and see if the really high tier stuff is something you end up diving into, or you might feel these things aren't necessary for me to get my work done. Like, their plans are really flexible. I think they're much better than the Adobe ones, because it means that say you're a freelancer and you just do a lot of traditional animation. Hey, Essentials probably gets you by like 90% of the time. Then you might have a bit of a bigger gig that needs some, a bit more flair in it. You can upgrade yourself to premium for a couple of months, get that job done, and then drop back down to the lower tier again. So you're not spending more than your budget needs. Does that make sense? We've just finished, David Holt says, we've just finished all the storyboards and we are working on the animatic now. Once that is finished, we are pitching it to a network. That's super exciting. Best of luck to you. Are you allowed to post links in YouTube chat? Am I allowed to see it, or will it not work? Actually, if it doesn't, tweet me a link and then we can watch some of it right now. Oh, sorry, you already said it. The trailer is out. Google Captain Hobbs. I shall. Now, when I was building the first half of this character, I was streaming it just privately to my Discord chat and the Patreons there. Unfortunately, I foolishly didn't turn on recording audio output, which means the entire thing is just 6 hours of a one-sided conversation, which is a bit disappointing. I would have uploaded the entire thing by now, but unfortunately I have to sort of like edit it down to get it something that is at least a little bit listenable. So that's why that's not out yet. I Googled Captain Hobbs. This is what I'm seeing. Help me find what I'm looking for. Dave. Creates organization project. Is it this? Is it this? Is this it? It's a cartoon thing. We'll come back to that. I'm keen to watch your trailer though. Where was I up to? I wish I could sort of like highlight or remove comments from my view once I'm done addressing. We've just finished all the storyboards, working on the animatic. Yes, that's great. I have YouTube, but nobody likes it. Keep going. Actually, I'm probably not in the right place to be saying that. YouTube is rough. Real rough. I've been at it for 5 years. No more. I started in 2014, I think. And, like I am nowhere near being considered like profitable. Like if we were really blunt about it, this channel shouldn't be worth my time. But I keep doing it for some reason. Maybe it's a sunk cost fallacy. I've come this far. I can't give up now. But well, no. The real reason is that for exactly what's happened in this chat so far, reading 20 minutes of compliments is just kind of like, yes, this is making a difference. People are learning from it. So I have to keep going. I feel like it would be a disservice to sort of just bail. No, I like being here. I like doing this. It's I guess YouTube's just tiring. I shouldn't complain. Where was I? Never give up, never surrender. Yeah. Captain Hobbs and the Astro Cats. Okay, that was the right one then. Does this... I mean, they are cats. Yeah, Astro Cats, cool. All right, how do I get to the trailer though? Is this it? Send me a link somewhere. Because I'm in too much of a presenter mode mindset now. My eyes are skipping over every second word for some reason. I can't focus on anything. I'm so hyperactive because there's so many comments to read and things to do. This is all too exciting. still feeling weirdly on edge about everything being live and not being able to edit out mistakes. In advance, there's a camera. Ooh, how many essentials doesn't have the camera? That's whack. I'm actually pretty surprised that Essentials has as much rigging related tools as it does. I personally prefer frame by frame animations, so I mostly stick to that. I found that interesting too. I would have thought that that Essentials would drill in mostly on frame by frame stuff, because I feel the X sheet, this thing here, I don't think this is in Essentials. I think this is an advanced only tool. Or maybe it was only even a premium tool. I can't remember, but the X sheet feels pretty essential for like those who need it. I don't know. If you're not sure which version of Hummy to use, you could download each trailer individually. Yes. This might have been a while ago. There is a lot more chat right now. I promise there isn't that much of a delay. I just get hung up on each question. Yes, part 2 is late. Is this in addressing to me talking about that lip syncing video? Yeah, it's 3 years later. I did almost finish the second part, and then I pretty much ended up scrapping the whole thing and moved on to other stuff. So I need to take another crack at it. Focus, we need the super cute version of Onion Skin. Thank you, Jelly. I needed that. I'll quickly catch up on these comments and then I'll focus a little bit more. Or maybe I should at least... No, hold on. At least go back to grabbing these points, which I horrendously threw off course, and start putting them down on point. You'd really think you could just do that and pick them all up, huh? But because like now that one's highlighted, I could pick up... Oh, no? Okay. Sometimes it picks up 2. Sometimes it doesn't. I don't have an answer for that. Z probably knows. It's my first time watching. You're amazing. Really? How did you find me for the first time right now? Rachel's Adventures. I didn't think I was easy to find. I thought I was someone where you only found my content through searching very specific topics. I unfortunately did not know about the 3 free trials when I got it. That is a thing, yes. Colin, it's only 21 days, so you have 63 days. 63 days till what? What am I missing? Doodles and Things says, I might use the free trials in advance then. Yes, it's worth a go. Cavi says, Adobe's student discount expires after like a year. I guess we are really growing up too soon. Yeah, Adobe's rough. Any reason... this is a good question. Ants Animation says, any reason why they skipped over versions 18 and 19? It's not a silly question, but the answer's a bit silly, and I love it. It's because it came out in 2020. So they were just syncing up with the year, which I personally think is a good idea. Well, like when you have things that are that high of a number and you're that close to being the year, you might as well. Like I feel like iPhones should do the same thing. Like having an iPhone, like in another 30 years from now, when we're sort of being like, oh, you know, what year did the iPhone 12 come out in? Oh, that was in 2020. Just especially when they also skip numbers randomly every now and then. Windows did the same thing. They skipped Windows 9. Just name it after the year. You had it right the first time in Windows 95. But apparently the reason why they skipped Harmony 13 and went straight from 12 to 14 was just superstition reasons. Or so I hear. But it makes it seem like the program has advanced a lot in only a few years, because we've gone from version 10 to version 20 when there's really been, what, 6? Do premium projects still work in Essentials and vice versa? Yes. And I say it with that inflection very deliberately, because you can open it, but you cannot... Oh, do I have enough undos? No, I don't. I've messed this up forever. I've messed it up forever. Oh no. Oh no. I should have done backups. Maybe I shouldn't ever work ever when streaming, because everything's a disaster. What was I saying? Oh yeah, you can open up premium projects in Essentials, but you cannot interact with any of the premium parts. So if there's, I think envelope deformers are missing, so like you can't touch those. Maybe you can animate them, but you can't edit them or something like that. Something like that. You get a warning when you open it being like, you sure you want to do this? Oh boy, what have I done? Okay, let's... Because that one's going to have to be arced backwards as well. Okay, let's try this again. What have I done? I'm going to try fixing this one. Or maybe I should start with the straight lines again before rotating it. That needs to sync with that better. And maybe this pose probably just isn't any good. Because like how that needs to sync with that is pretty rough. I'm probably just too early for to be thinking about contours. Because remember, the whole thing I started this with is that is weird. So why am I trying to sync up contours to that when I haven't even got the damn face down yet? We've only been streaming for like an hour and a half, and I've just decided that nothing we've done is worth using. These controllers are also not really necessary. Anyway, sorry, quick catch up. Just as a consumer, I can't say that I'm much of a fan of Adobe subscription plan. Seems like everything else is just better on the money front. I agree. Oops. I went too far and everything disappeared. Bowman Ruto says, what I personally do is to select the comment I'm replying to once I've read it, so it's easy to find in chat. Great idea. Wow, I'm really far behind. I need to fly through these to catch up to the present. Sorry. They said they wanted their software to match their year now. Yes. Okay. David Holt says, when my first animator left, it was your videos that helped me bridge that gap before I could get someone else. I had no experience. I always shout you out at my panels at cons. You're great. Fantastic. Thank you so much. I really do need to check out some of your stuff then. It is in Essentials. I still use Essentials 14. Yeah, I used 14 up until really recently as well. I never used the X sheet though. It has purposes. Interestingly, its purposes are quite different to what I think they were intended for, because it was, it's here for traditional animators, but it's really good just for managing layers that have lots of reusable drawing substitutions. Like if you want to name all of your mouths, then you can sort of do that here and keep track of it in a very visual way, which is nice. What I find strange though is that X-sheet parts are not represented in the node view. So if you have like blank functions, like blank tweens sitting in here, you don't see them in here, which I think is a bit strange. I've been using Essentials for 4 years, and I can tell you that it has X-sheet, the camera, rigging tools, side view, drawing substitutions, and even the top view. That is wonderful to know. Thank you. I've actually found that really helpful. Jelly Maya or Maya? Sorry. I have learned the hard way that you should never say part 2 to anything on a tutorial focused channel. I used to teach Blender 3D, getting back to it. Yeah, you're right. I especially feel the same way when it comes to any kind of channel update or plans. So many times I've been like, okay, this is my plan for the next 6 months. This is how regular videos will be coming out. This is what their topics are going to be. And I'm so glad that I've had that rule to not sit down and announce what's going to be coming up, because they never go quite according to plan. I'm likely to blurt them out by accident when streaming. But I hope that it being in a live context means it has a bit more of a take it with a grain of salt. Like when people are like, oh, you're going to do Read Between Frames? I'm like, oh, maybe. It's like, it's maybe. I'm not sitting down and being like, this is coming out and this is when, and then it doesn't happen. I feel like that's a bit rude. I actually found your channel a while ago from Jazza. That's great. I'm glad that that connection is still lingering. That was a long time ago. Because like this whole channel started almost as a bit of a spin-off from Jazz's stuff, like way back when he did Flash tutorials and his audience was asking for ToonBoom stuff, and he wasn't doing it. So I pitched him being like, hey, what if I do some ToonBoom tutorials for you? And we settled on this channel starting, and he'd just sort of help kick it off, really. So that was, about 6 years ago, which was great. But so it's interesting how much we've sort of diverged, because I really stayed in ToonBoom tutorials and he went on to become this, great big art entertainer, which has been really exciting to see. I like cartoons. I have a babysitter. She might like this. I like animes and cartoons. Wonderful. 13's my lucky number because everyone else thinks it's bad. Lol. So I need to be reading faster, don't I? Been watching from your first tutorials, getting back into animation. What platform am I most active on? I pretty much only YouTube and Twitter, to be honest. Twitter's the most immediate one because, like, if I'm making something for an upcoming video, like, I'll post it on Twitter as soon as I finish it. And the video for it probably won't come out for a number of weeks after that because I still have to edit it and refine it, etc., etc. Like, just recently, like, assuming you've watched the Magnemite video that I put out a couple of days ago, where things are sort of dragging, like the magnets sort of drag in a weird way. I was like, okay, well, let's take that to its conclusion. I don't know how well you can see this. Zoom. Does that work? Did that stop because I zoomed my screen in? That sucks. I took it to a logical conclusion by just sort of daisy chaining things that drag. So this little skelly guy here is animated exclusively through his hip. And everything else is this wild knock-on effect. So I made that a few days ago. I uploaded it right away, but its video isn't going to come out for not for a few weeks, I think. But I guess it's a good way to sort of keep me accountable there that things are indeed on their way, so I don't vanish for another few months. Speaking of Twitter, Captain Hobbs just posted his trailer. Let's give it a look.
You know, I often ask myself if this whole thing is worth it. Going to other planets, solving the universe's problems, and all for under $500 a week?
Where's that echo coming from?
I have seen many things in my 9 lives.
What's going on?
Things that would shake you.
Oh no.
But I know why they call me
so
every
sorry.
time.
I'm ruining this.
I know that everyone wants the best that the feline space patrol has to offer.
It might be already
I know this as sure as my name is Captain
Captain?
Shush. Okay, sorry. I'm assuming you don't mind me playing this here because you tweeted it, but let's enjoy.
You know, I often ask myself if this whole thing is worth it. Going to other planets, solving the universe's problems, and all for under $500 a week? I have seen many things in my 9 lives. Things that would shake you. But I know why they call me every time. I know that everyone wants the best that the feline space patrol has to offer. I know this as sure as my name is Captain Hop.
Captain, we have a problem down in the control room. You really should...
Sergeant! How many times have I asked you not to disturb me while I am monologuing?
I know, sir, but this time...
Just deal with it, and contact me during my office hours of 11 to 11:30 a.m. every other Monday.
She delivers!
Major, it looks like they've destroyed another ship.
That was great. Can't wait to see more. I'm subscribe. I'm not sure if you just wanted me to like watch it or do any feedback or whatever. It's a trailer that you finished, so I feel like giving any sort of like critique or whatever is probably not appropriate right now. But really enjoyable, cool characters, cool movement. I like the good balance of equality and efficiency in there as well. Looking forward to seeing more. Dash says, I just saw you talking about my channel, but I am not yet an animator, but I am working on my first video as we speak. I'm going to make my own show as well. Here is a link to my channel. Unfortunately, the link does not turn up in chat. You're probably going to have to get in touch with me on Twitter and send a link that way, and then I will definitely be keeping tabs on your journey. And also, what is a good voice editor for ToonBoom? As in just like voice recording? I just use OBS for everything now. You know, the streaming software. It's got really good recording as well. I might be Lucas Satin says I might be good at some point for someone to make a full spreadsheet on everything that's missing. Missing in what? Oh, from different Harmony versions. Yeah, I want to do a video in a little bit where I properly cover everything. I don't think I have an Essentials and Premium at the moment. I've got, what's this one? I think that's 16. Yeah, so I've got 16, 17, and 20 here. But they're all premiums from different years. I only use Xsheet to delete drawings or reorganize them. Yeah, me too. I find that really useful. YouTube is always... the video will be both time and if released. So I need to sort of skim read things a little bit more. Videos on Jazz's channel are what introduced me. That's cool. I didn't know people were still... seeing those. So as I was saying at the start, like when I first kicked off, like 100% of my audience were from Jazza. So I'm glad that since then I've been able to build more of an independent audience as well. But that's interesting that people are still finding me through that. What I've learned to do is, Jelly says, what I've learned to do is just that I'm intending to do X, but not making any promises with YouTube content. Yeah, I agree. That's a healthy mindset to have. I'm gonna skip ahead just a little bit to try and get back to the present. Nice job, David Holt. Your trailer looks great, says Doodles and Things. I agree. Sushi Sauce says that it looks heck professional. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of praise coming in for David Holt there. Excellent. Oh, I don't think it would work for lip syncing because I need MP3 to enter it. Oh, so you're looking for Dash Animations. You're looking for a way to auto lip sync. Am I reading that correctly? There is a way to do it directly in ToonBoom, but it's a bit all right. I need to import some sound to demonstrate it. But when you click on a waveform up here, you get like a bit of an auto lip sync manager. But probably the best way to do it, if that's the kind of animation you want, is a program called Adobe Character Animator, which has like facial tracking and things like that. It's a good way to make things quickly. It's just not really my jam, not at the moment at least. Sorry, where was I? David Holt says, dude, have you watched that? Thank you, man. You are awesome. Please keep up the videos. Who knows one day in the future what projects could come down the line. Yeah, congratulations for finishing that trailer as well. Most people remember that everybody has ideas. Like ideas are the easy bit. Everyone has an idea for a show or a series or a book or a movie. And the proof of this is that when there's a show or something that you don't like, everyone has their suggestions on, oh, this is what I would have done, right? Everybody has that. The hard part is execution. Actually finishing something, seeing it through and releasing it. That's real hard, and not many people do it. I'm one of them. The amount of unfinished projects I have lying around is ridiculous. And the amount of unfinished Onionskin videos I have lying around are ridiculous. Like, you know how I just had like a 5-month gap? It doesn't mean I wasn't working on the channel properly. Like, I started a bunch of them. I just didn't have the energy to finish them, or the commitment to finishing them, or the confidence to finish them. I'm gonna have to commit probably a couple of weeks full time just to like getting some of the ones that are like 80% done over the line. So yeah, seriously, kudos, even just for finishing, let alone it actually being pretty good. I actually bought it a bunch of stuff earlier in the early 2010s that I found recently. I'm actually planning on making it happen some way. How that's really interesting to hear, Jelly, because what I was just saying about half-finished things, a lot of mine are from the early 2010s as well, and I feel strange returning to them now. Like, a lot of them are a bit cringe now, you know what I mean? I sort of hesitate to be like, would that work now? I don't know. Anyway, enough staring at a blank screen. See, that... Maybe I didn't design this guy very well for it to... Or, let's jump into the eye. Man, I cannot focus at both at once. This is a disaster. This is a disaster. Jelly says, I'm going to pop out to do my own streaming stuff, not on YouTube, because reasons. Fair enough. Thanks for coming by. Have a good time. Bowman Ruto, I hope I'm saying that right. I've always been interested in 2D animation. I've been working on that turnaround for months. I've mostly focused on 3D animation. Feel like I'm spreading myself too thin by doing both at the same time. I have very similar feelings about the spreading yourself too thin thing. Because it's like, oh, what if I focused on this? Would I have made, X amount more progress? I wish I had more comforting words, I suppose. I guess just like getting help, getting feedback is good. I'm happy to be a part of that. Because if you're struggling to build a turnaround rig, I'm happy to take a look at it for you, especially if, and please feel free to decline this, if you did want it to feature in a video as like a part of a critique session. Like someone was asking earlier today, if I've thought about doing those kinds of videos where people send stuff in and I sort of tell them what they're doing right and wrong, blah blah blah, and I almost said that I feel a bit uncomfortable with it. If there's anything I feel a little bit more comfortable in, it would be probably like rig critiquing. Ironically though, ToonBoom Official just started a very similar series where they're critiquing rigs. A lot of those seem to be a little bit more professional, a bit more finished though. So I'm happy to cover the niche of people who are a bit more fresh. So especially if this is something that you've been working on for a couple of months and you've hit a snag and you don't know what direction to go in next, I want to help solve the problem that is suited to you, right? Because like the ToonBoom Official rig streams are great, really beneficial. I recommend them. And from what I've seen, it is about building the like the industry standard ones, like something that would be good for shows. The hole that I think I can fill is the tailor-made stuff. I think rigging is a real art where everything is unique to the kind of production that you personally are wanting to make. This onion is a good example of that. It doesn't move in the kind of way that regular characters do. The T-Pain one, I really need to put a trailer up on my channel for this. I just feel weird doing it now because it's, 3 years later. No, a year later. But I did a music video for T-Pain and Justin Roiland a year ago.
A broken
with
website
TRY.
isn't always that obvious.
Quite well
Use
known
the
in ToonBoom community.
SEMrush site audit tool to...
I'm going to not have ads play. Forgot that. I did this video with TRY, who's quite popular in the ToonBoom community, for T-Pain and Justin Roiland about a year ago for Trevor Saves the Universe. And this rig is, particularly these heads here. So sort of check out how they're twisting it. I'm going to turn that down so I don't get hit for the music. But these are actually built using a 3D rig method. So it's not a master controller, but there's a pivot in the middle that swings everything around in a 3D space. And that worked fantastic specifically for this video, because you see, like, you get a bit of dimension in the glasses, you can see the gap inside the hair, they move around, they're able to like just express and sort of dance with their face very elegantly, and we're able to churn through a ton of footage very, very quickly with that rig. But this is the only thing you could ever do with that face. It can't turn any further. It can't express in any other way. You couldn't stick it on a body and have it walking around. It has to be in the middle of the screen, rotating a little bit and singing. So that's sort of the thing that I'm talking about. Rigging specifically for this, really, really efficient. But you would not be saving any time if it was to be used for literally anything else. Likewise, building a regular TV style rig for this production would have been too slow. There's too many parts that you have to move individually. Didn't have time for that. Just wanted a single controller. Like, even the hair is automatic. Like, that's using 2-point constraints and springs as well. So that's all physics. The mouth is using matte resizes and things so that the mustache and stuff is automatically generated. Lots of efficient little tricks to get us over the line just on that particular thing. So I think if hypothetically you were to send me, if I was to do like a rig review thingy, or you were to send me one and we just do a one-off where I break down what you're trying to do with your 360 rig, I would like you to send it alongside like a brief, like a mission statement of the kind of thing that you want to be able to achieve with it. Like, what is the kind of show that you're doing? What are the kind of actions that they're going to do? What is the dialogue like? Is it an action show, or are they sort of just standing around talking to one another? How much action is there? What sort of movement will they be doing? Is the action like just sort of gestural? Will they be running? Will they be doing crazy flips and things? Like, all of that is super, super important to figuring out the kind of tools that are required to find that quality-quantity balance. Anyway, where was I? That trailer came out David Holt says that trailer came out a few years back, and since then we rewrote the script for the pilot 3 times and did all the contours to promote, and we just finished the storyboards at the end of 20s. Oh, so the trailer that you just had me watch then, was that from a couple of years ago? I forgot to check the date of it. Is it still up? Yeah, 2017. Oh, okay. Wow. Let's have a quick look and see. Wait, am I on the wrong thing? Oh, okay. So you've
You
been
know-
up to other projects in the meantime. Fair enough. Where were we? I'd totally be up for that. My rig probably won't be in ToonBoom, but there's ways to make it work. Oh, okay. Yeah, if it's not a ToonBoom rig, I may not be able to help as much then. What are you planning to build it with? I thought you said that you've been working on it for 3 months already. David Holt says, we are a 3-man team, and I know the difficulty is just putting stuff out. We had to turn to other media to keep the audience, like the comic pictures, even had a puppet show for a few episodes. Wow, so you've really been experimenting to try and find the right direction or even medium to take. That's cool. Your videos are great for those who want to get into this and make it pretty easy. So it's no wonder a lot of people are finding you. Thank you very much. That means a lot. Ants Animation says, it's giving me Rick and Morty vibes. Yes, that is very deliberate. It was a Justin Roiland project who indeed does Rick and Morty. If you've played Trevor Saves the Universe, you will find that it is very much the same style, in the same way that Futurama is the same style as The Simpsons. Boomman Ritter says, worst case scenario, I'll port my characters to ToonBoom. I'm currently using a few programs to try and just, bodge a rig together. I guess if it's been 3 months, it's not so much a bodge anymore. Hey, what has been your approach so far? What is it built in at the moment? Like, saying that you've been working on it, I assume like it's started. What state is it in currently? We'll definitely reach out about this on Twitter. Totally up for getting this idea to work. Cool. Animal Fort says, so glad you're alive. Yeah, me too. I'm glad that this is a thing. Any plans on doing Storyboard Pro and ToonBoom? Yes. I've talked about that a little bit already today, that I do want to do a few videos on Storyboard Pro. And what's great about that is Storyboard Pro is way simpler. Like, I'll probably be able to cover pretty much the entire program in like 2 or 3 videos, unlike Harmony, where I can talk about it for years and years and barely make any progress. George says, notice me, senpai. I have never had anyone say that to me before, and I was about to say feel honored, but I don't know if I have enough of an ego. It just feels kind of out of place, but I'm glad to hear it. Thank you. Berman Rotis asks if I really want to know where the rig was built. It's currently spread across multiple programs, one of which is Blender, and that's just absolute hell. 3D is tricky. Yeah, send us some screenshots. Maybe I'll bring it up during next week's stream, assuming I do another stream next week. I wish you did this more often because I always need help in ToonBoom. Yeah, today's like a test to see if it's worth doing streams more regularly. My feedback for myself so far is to not do projects that require active problem solving in the background, which is why I haven't been able to actually focus on what the hell I'm doing. Or at least divide it up into segments, being like, here's the part where I'm working, here's the part where we're talking. But as far, I haven't had anyone talking about quality issues, as in quality of the stream, which is great news. Every single time I've ever attempted streaming in the past, it just craps itself and dies. Sometimes immediately, sometimes a little while in. But streaming has never been a regular thing because my internet quality has never, ever been able to handle it. And it looks like things might finally be different. David Holt has to head out, but just chatting to you has been amazing. Keep up the videos. Get a lot of people into animating their ideas. I will keep in touch on Twitter. Thanks so much. I'm glad you could be here. Take care. I just started learning Blender a week ago, says Doodles and Things. I feel very overwhelmed looking at the user interface. It's pretty wild. But thankfully, Blender has a ton of online resources. So, yeah. I've learned everything I know from it through tutorials. Dash Animation says, oh, by the way, I sent you my channel link on Twitter. When you have the time, check it out. I certainly will. Bowman Ruto says, we'll figure something out. I've been drawing the parts in Krita, started rigging it in Anime Studio, then that license expired, jumped into different programs. Okay, I see. Trying to get it to work. Currently the main rig is in Blender, but that has its own issues. Gotcha. Yes, this is a 5-star stream, says Doodles and Things. I'm glad that's the case. There's absolutely nothing going on visually, but I hope the conversation has been good enough. Maybe I should open up on Discord so we can all chat verbally sometime as well. That'll probably make it a little bit easier for me to get work done as well. Lol. Okay, I've actually caught up to the present now. It looks like things might be slowing down a little bit chat-wise, so maybe I'll figure out where I'm sitting with this and spend probably just half an hour focusing on the task. I actually think I might have committed to a call soon. Now we'll give it just 15 more minutes. But I will try and focus a little bit more on this. So we'll consider this the working segment after the hanging out segment. After I reply to George saying, am I really the first on calling you senpai? Yes, you are. The main question Berman Roto wanted to ask was about the amount of angles I should have for a usable rig, but it should not be too terribly hard to import the character parts into ToonBoom. Okay. Well, I guess I'd take a crack at seeing how far I can get in ToonBoom, and then I'll help you from there. Doodles and Things says, oh, I've been watching some Onionskin, of course. Nice. Animal Fort says, I can't wait to buy Harmony with a whole bunch of motivational emojis. Cool. Animal Fort, tell me, what are you using at the moment? Are you animating currently, or working on anything? What's your experience? Help me get to know you and your journey. Meanwhile, here's my little checklist I made for this, where I need to make different mouth states, get the contours working, compositing needs to have different lighting and stuff effects. So there's actually tons more to do rather than just getting these angles right. So maybe I should do just some mouth states. I've done the foot lift. That's with this controller here. Yeah, all right. I'm just going to draw some mouths. That's easy enough. And someone was even asking about lip sync earlier. I think I was going to consider rigged mouths this time for the sake of tweenable and flexibility. Nah. Substitutions are faster, aren't they? I mean, I was going to mess with it. Substitution controls with... I can't decide when literally every thought is broadcast. This sucks. Why am I streaming? Angle wise, I think it'll be 3/4 profile and front, back also. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I need to practice working and streaming at the same time. This is rough. I enjoy talking too much, and hearing from people. It looks like I took an attempt. I'm also just trying to find my bearings. I think I took an attempt at Blink last week, but didn't get very far. There's still so many decisions to be made that are too difficult to make. Doodles there says, I'm right, I'm leaving the stream. It seems like a few people are heading out. Maybe it's a good time for me as well. It's been... How long have we been going? Oh, hour and a quarter. I was only planning on going for... Sorry, it's nearly been 2 hours. I was only planning on going for an hour and a half. So that just flew by. So I think I might call it there. And next time I will plan a little bit more about how to be making progress while balancing certain chats and things. I was going to be introducing the idea of a segmented stream a bit later on, where we sort of have different activities at different times and stuff like that. But based on how today went, it might actually be a good idea to bring that in sooner and really deliberately have like, okay, first half hour, we're sort of doing this hangout back and forth, which can have like impromptu tutorials. If someone's like, hey, how do I do this? I'll be like, okay, let's just do that right now. And then have the, maybe like a let's review people's animations and rigs and stuff segment. Then we might even do a read between the frame segment, and then we'll do a hangout. I'm going to work on this, and we can sort of just chill out bit. We'll see how it goes. Very, very, very off the cuff. I'm not very professional at YouTube. You might have noticed that. You'd think after 5 years I would have a little bit more of an idea on what the hell I'm doing. I don't. Was about to say what George said. Oh, sorry, George, I missed that comment. Maybe have someone in a call with you and they can focus on reading chat and replying to you whilst you focus on rigging. Maybe. But the thing is, a lot of the things that people say send me off on a tangent where I end up opening up different tabs and different project files to demonstrate stuff. So it's all going to be just as distracting anyway. I think I'll just be a bit more disciplined with my time in regards to I guess like being a host, if that makes sense, and be like, okay, everyone, now we're going to do this. And then, everyone, like, we can all together be like, oh, okay, now let's do this. We'll experiment. We'll see how it goes. Again, not too professional. I could hold a poll on Twitter for topics to talk about in the stream. That's a great idea. I never would have thought of that. Brilliant. Okay. Also, I'm really pleased with like how many people rocked up, because like can I just get a quick show of hands as to what time it is where you are at the moment? Because it's about 1 p.m. for me, and I would assume that's the middle of the night for literally everyone else. But I'm still sitting at about 60 concurrent viewers, which I'm stoked about. I was expecting probably like 3 to 5, to be honest. So this is wild. 6:18 p.m. for quite a few people. So mid-afternoon, 9:20, 2 in the morning. Okay, yeah, so that's what I was expecting. But so far, Satin and Diogo are the only ones with that. Okay, so it's sort of early evening for most. Okay, that's cool to know. So that means if I'm sort of to figure out a good time to begin these and what works for people, I'm sort of getting the vibe that around now might actually be a good time to start rather than finish. What do you think? I guess that's something we'll all think about, and I'll tinker with it. Of course, with streams, I know it's important to have like a scheduled, this is when we're going to start, and then sort of commit to it so everyone knows. But the next couple of weeks, it'll be a little fluctuaty. But I'll try and put out a tweet with about typically about 12 hours heads up. Between 12 and 24 hours heads up. but we'll try something a bit later in the day, something a bit earlier in the day. It's Wednesday for me at the moment. I intend to do them on Tuesdays. So we'll be back with one in 6 days. And I guess just as a little bit of a teaser, we've got... I want to show what is coming out this weekend. Where is it? Onionskin folder and moments, unfinished episodes. I tweeted this a few days ago, but this is what this weekend's video will be about. I'll let your imaginations do the rest. So thank you for joining me, everyone. I'll see you all in a few days. Thank you very much for making this a very wonderful and pleasurable stream. I couldn't have imagined it going any better. This was so much more enjoyable than I was even expecting it to be. I learned a lot about how to do this. You guys are wonderful to interact with. It feels very two-sided, like we're learning from each other, which is cool. Very interactive. Feels like hanging out with friends. It's wonderful. So have a good week. Good luck in all of your creative ventures. Bye.